Welcome back to part 2 of our behind the scenes look at the Nature's Perks Learn to Hunt course. The weather may have been a bit wet, but that didn't dampen the spirit of the weekend one bit. There's something about a rainy morning in the bush, fresh coffee, warm damper from the camp oven, and a great bunch of people getting ready for a weekend of learning and adventure. Even with the rain, the vibe was spot on, relaxed, welcoming, and full of energy. Darcy got us all gathered up and ran through the essentials. It was clear this was going to be more than just a course, it was an experience. With the intros done and the coffee cups empty, it was time to get started.
We'll all just have a bit of a fun shoot. Guys, just like at your range, just basic stuff, watch your safe directions. We'll try and emphasise more on the deer and the hunting type and the finding game if that's the case. But I want to get... Queensland, we'll start with Queensland. Obviously we know there's no public land we can hunt in Queensland, we're all aware of that. We pretty much locked to having to hunt private land here.
Before we got stuck into the hands-on stuff, Darcy shared a bit about hunting here in Queensland, the different game species, the seasons, and how hunting regulations work across public land and private land.
As many lines as you can, and sooner or later you will have a hit. And provided you do the right thing, you don't make a dick of yourself on the property, you respect the owner's rules.
Next up we had John, Nature's Perks resident firearms expert, run the crew through the basics of ballistics and choosing the right rifle for the right job. From calibers and shot placement to projectile behaviour and ethical skills. John broke it all down in a way that made sense, whether you're brand new or already a few seasons deep. He also touched on scope mounting, sighting in your rifle, and how to match your setup to the type of hunting you plan on doing, whether it's pigs in the scrub, goats in the hills, or deer during the rut.
Think about where you're going to put the bullet and what type of bullet it is and how fast it's running, as opposed to what cartridge did it come out of. Saying your 308, your 308 will kill every deer in Australia quite handily. The only places your larger 30 cal are probably better is if you want to run a heavier bullet at a longer distance.
To assist in John's demonstration, Darcy shows off his pride and joy, the Tikka.
Parts for, very, very easy to get accessories for. Like I said,
they're good on your wallet.
Yeah, they're not. They're what they are. They're pretty good on the wallet. They're made in the same factory as Seiko. So finished barrels, all good stuff. Mag out, nothing in chamber, and I would normally go show me what you're doing, unless I know you. So chamber's clear, everything's clear, and then you put your mag back in case we do see a dog or something like that, and we're driving along. For example, this afternoon we go up and shoot.
Lawson gave us a safety rundown. It's all about being ready, without being risky. It's the small habits that create a safe and responsible hunter, and for many here, it was a good reminder, and for some, a brand new lesson.
I'm not going to be, my dad used to be a roost shooter.
With safety covered, Lawson switched gears and took us through one of the most underrated skills in the bush, knife sharpening. He showed us how to get a clean edge using just basics, no fancy gear. Just solid technique, the right angles, and a bit of practice. A sharp knife isn't just easy to use, it's safer, cleaner, and essential for everything from skinning to butchering.
Anyone done much knife work? Chefs?
I used to make those.
Oh, I used to make those. Cool. So, there's other... there are other ways of doing it. You don't have to do it this way. This is just the way I do it, because this cost me $50. This will last me my whole life. Don't overcomplicate things. If you have something like this sucker who's not doing very well, and you probably need a good half an hour on the rough side.
Now that our tools were ready, it was time to put them to work. With knives sharpened and everyone geared up, it was time to get hands on. Lawson led the crew over to where the deer were hanging, shot earlier for the course and prepped for butchering. He explained that the animals had been hanging for a couple of days, just enough time to let the meat settle and to make the butchering smoother. We kept the hides on to protect the meat. It was a smart move to keep things clean and dry until it was time to break them down. You could feel the shift. This was where things got real. For some, it was the first time seeing what happens after the shot. From here, we rolled straight into learning how to break down a deer into primal cuts, the kind of skills that turn a hunt into food on the table. With the theory covered, it was time to roll up our sleeves and dive into the practical side, starting with breaking down a deer.
And Tobias has what I call small dick syndrome, where he has a 338 Lapua. So the bullet went past this other deer and it just fell over because of the velocity. No, Tobias next shot that one. I don't recommend next shooting unless you're really good at stuff. I've seen Tobias shoot on top of that hill and hit targets, and he's a very good shot. So he's next shot that because he knows I want meat. So we're going to do two different situations here. We'll do this sucker here on the floor, like we're out in the bush, and then I'll show you the correct way if you can get the deer back to camp, or you've got three mates, you can hooer into a tree, take one, buy one of them. It cost me $60, leave them in the back of your car. You'd be surprised how easy they are. You just walk over, climb a tree, a bit of rope or S-hook, and next thing you know you've got easy stuff.
With the deer now off the gimbal, Lawson took the opportunity to show us how to cape an animal properly. Something every hunter should know if they're planning a shoulder mount. Even for those not chasing a mount this time, it was gold. Another skill to be added to the toolbox, and another layer of understanding in the hunting journey. Cape done, crew buzzing, it was time to roll up the sleeves and get into the breakdown.
If you're going to cape them out, is come back to the rump, come back to the pizzle, and just go straight around. So your first cut, come right around.
Does it have a muzzle brake?
And then you just go gut hook, straight through. That's all you need to do in the caping situation, and I'll show you the other cut, and then you're basically just ripping it off this way. So you would come back. You ever go to the pub and stuff and you see this big deer on the wall?
Yeah, like a head.
Yeah, big head. And so what we're doing right now would be to get that to a taxidermy. So what I'm showing you right now, basically you're going to rip the cape off down towards its head, and then you can roll it up. But what I'll do is I'll show you everything you need to do, and then you take it to the taxidermy, you'd salt it, you get it there, he would do the rest. You paid more money to do the head because the head is a little bit of like, for example, if I did it here during the raw, it would take me probably 2 hours. Little dinky knives, a lot of process, but that's for a big wall mount. So I'm showing you right now. I'm showing you the caping to get to taxidermy, but I'm also showing you the gutless method at the same time. Now, this is the problem. Coming into winter, we're going to get their coat. Painful, annoying, but there's no way around it. You are going to get hair on it. So I have a gutting, butchering knife, and then I have a meat knife. So let's just cape him first, and we'll do the rest after. So that's our first cut. We get it right up to the back of the neck. I can't do that because Tobias decided to blow the fucking thing off. So I'll put that back. We'll lay him down. We're going to start from the outside and we're going to work back to the inside. Does that make sense? So what you're doing when the deer is on the wall, you actually don't see the shoulders or the legs. All we're doing is going to be hiding that and tucking that in, and the taxidermy, all you see is just nice neck. So more, you can be like some guys and sock it. Takes a lot of time, very difficult, and it takes process. So yeah, come back in here and cut back towards that. And that's all you do. And believe it or not, that's literally all you do for that. You get your knife. Okay, and when we would be doing taking this out, again we're just working back this way. I'll smack myself in the head with a hoof. Again. No. That's it, guys. That's all he wants. Alright, so yeah, you work to the head, get to there. Get out of there ASAP.
With the caping finished and the pelt set aside, Lawson showed us something every bush hunter should know: how to butcher a deer in the field without gutting it.
Alright, so that was the caping. So we'll do the gutless method. We can use the front shoulders because Tobias neck shot it. So we're in this situation. We've ripped the cape off, everything's ready to go. All we do now, you can take the hoofs off. I would when you're out in the paddock, because extra weight. No one wants to walk with extra weight.
While we had the deer laid out, Lawson took the moment to talk about something every ethical hunter needs to master: shot placement. He demonstrated by driving his knife into the shoulder blade, showing us just how tough that bone is. This, he said, is where bullets lose energy fast. Then he moved just behind the shoulder, and the knife slipped straight in. That's the sweet spot. That's where you reach the heart and lungs for a quick, humane kill. It was a powerful, visual way to show the importance of aiming true, not just for success, but for ethical hunting and respect of the animal.
100 metres, that's probably where you want to aim. Because if you get an inch, what's an inch?
Well, I did one at 300. It took a step and hit it rear lung, didn't it?
And she went nowhere. Look what I just did then. An arrow slipping through. That's only hitting nothing. That's seriously. Yeah. So when we're out in the paddock, we look at it. Okay, cool. We can see the outline. You can see what's going on. We're going to put our knife like that. We're going to run like that. Okay. So our first cuts for the gutless method is straight up to the arse. So take your time around the bum. Take your time in here because the skin's tight. Now when you do this, be careful because you don't want to cut the guts. So your first cut is in here to the bone. Now if you cut too far down towards the belly, you will get the guts out. And there's an artery in there. She's bleeds everywhere. So in here, hard against that bone, and you want to hit that joint. There's a gut there. So pop that joint over that lump there, and just following the bone. Follow. And this is where your pre-cutting comes into play, because look at that rump which we mucked around with before.
With the butchering done and the best cut set aside, Lawson took us through one final treat for the day: prepping the rump for dinner.
Alright, can you see from there?
He walked us through how to clean it up, remove the silver skin, and slice it the right way to keep it tender.
There is a bit of bone there.
As always, it was about doing things properly, with care and respect for the animal. This wasn't just about feeding the crew, it was a celebration of the skills learned, the effort put in, and the reward that comes from field to fire.
Rump, very simple with that. You just slice it that way. Okay, so you're doing steaks, you want to do some venison steaks. I suggest you do a nice jus with it, red wine jus. Very simple, very quick, but you don't want to overcook the shit out of that. I would try and do probably less than thumb thickness. I've had some really nice rump. Mostly what I do with rump is get rid of the fat. So, just going to do this.
It's not pleasant.
It's a little waxy. Because we're doing dinner, let's get this ready for dinner. We're just going to dice it up and get it ready for dinner. So again, bite-sized pieces, but I want to get it on the campfire ASAP. So yeah, that's diced up rump. That will do probably half a pot. Now, what I like to do. Can you see that all right? Now, can you see the kneecap moving there? A little bit, basically right there. So, put your knife in there, and basically all you're doing is do. I cannot explain it any other way. It's just the way I always imagine it. So put your knife in there, find the gap, which I've lost. Here it is. Do over that little click, straight through. Okay. I'm going to do one pot with like a casserole. We'll do some pasta sauce, and then another is a curry. So we'll do the nice curry that, and we'll do casserole with that. Right, look how hot that is. And the big thing about cooking over the this bloody, I never remember what this thing's called, campfire, is you need lots of liquid. Big thing about it, have lots of liquid because there's so much more heat. You've got to just be really mindful. Have a good cold base like this. You just want to brown the meat off. So the ingredients are just used: seeded mustard, stock, onion, and we'll add some sauce stuff later on. I found you need a good lot of salt with this stuff. Just always.
Dinner slow cooking over the fire, and the scent of venison filling the camp. It was time to shift gears and put some of the earlier lessons into practice. We jumped in the cars and made our way out to get ready for some hands-on firearms safety and live fire practice. With Darcy and John leading the session, the focus was on safety, control and confidence, everything a hunter needs before heading into the field. We kicked things off with a demo on how to zero your rifle. Using the same tikka that Darcy had walked us through back at camp that morning. John explained the process step by step, from steadying the rifle and picking a rest, to understanding how your scope adjustments move to the point of impact. Knowing how to properly zero your rifle is key to ethical hunting, and Darcy made sure everyone left with a clear understanding of how and why to do it right. Next up, it was the crew's turn to jump in behind the rifle and put what they'd learnt into practice. The crew was buzzing, more confident, more capable, and ready for whatever came next. We headed back to camp, thinking the day might be winding down, but Darcy had one more surprise up his sleeve. This time, it was all about clay shooting. With a shotgun in hand and Lawson doing the throwing, Darcy gave the crew a crash course in tracking and breaking clays. He made it look easy, but it was quickly learned that a rhythm and timing to it that takes real practice. It was the perfect way to round out a massive day, fun, a bit competitive, and a reminder that there's always more to learn. We wrapped up the day the best way possible, sharing a meal by the fire, surrounded by good company, full bellies and fresh memories. Conversations drifted from hunting stories to future adventures, with plenty of laughs in between. For some, it was the start of a whole new journey. As the fire died down, the camp settled in for the night, grateful, inspired, and eager to see what tomorrow would bring. Day 2 started slow and steady, coffee in hand, boots by the fire, and that peaceful stillness you only get out in the bush. But it didn't stay quiet for long. The first call to action for the morning, Lawson and Ethan were heading out to deal with a wild pig they'd been hanging around the farmer's property. With the pig down, it was time for the next lesson, how to gut an animal in the field.
So, have we noticed one thing I've done the right way? The hill's going that way, everything's going to be going this way, and the pigs will come in. So, do we see our first cut there, guys? Okay, good to have one of those big sticking knives. Straight in, straight. Basically, you're hitting the jugular, and you're going down, aiming into the heart and the lungs area. And basically, all you're doing is when you're getting there, you're just opening it up.
Lawson took the lead again, walking us through each step, where to cut, how to avoid piercing the gut, and the safest way to work when you're out in the bush without a bench or any running water. The rest of the crew met us out in the field, eager to get up close and learn, because this is where the theory becomes real and every cut teaches you something new. Lawson explained how to work with the animal's anatomy, minimising mess, keeping the meat clean, and showing total respect for the animal taken. It was raw, it was real, and it was the kind of knowledge you only gain by being out there and doing it. Back at camp with the pig gutted and cleaned, it was time to break it down. Lawson talked us through the structure of the animal, where to start, how to follow the muscle groups, and how to work efficiently without wasting a thing. This wasn't just butchering, it was storytelling. Every cut came with a tip, a reason, a lesson, learned from years in the field. You could see the light bulbs going off, understanding how a pig's breakdown is a skill that'll serve you every time you bring something home. Now it was time to turn both the deer and pig into something pretty special, fresh venison sausages. But before we could fire up the mincer, there was one more lesson to go. We still had the deer to finish breaking down, and this time it was all about learning by doing, not just sitting back and watching. Lawson guided each person through the process, giving everyone a chance to build confidence with a blade. With the deer and pig fully prepped, it was finally time to mix the magic and start turning wild game into flavour-packed sausages. With the meat prepped and ready, it was time to fire up the gear, starting with the Carnivore Collective meat mincer. This beast made short work of it, clean, consistent and powerful. Perfect for turning our field harvested meat into the perfect sausage mix. We added the seasoning, simple, honest flavours to let the wild game shine, and then moved on to the next step, the Carnivore Collective sausage stuffer. It was the perfect match. Smooth, easy to use, we gave everyone a chance to jump in and have a go.
Because what we went with, the reason why we throw is it's going to get rid of the air, and we're going to push it down. This takes a little bit of practice, don't stress. You're alright, you go as fast as or slow as you want. Slowly, slowly, slowly. Keep going. Again, if you're going to put some air pockets in like this, don't stress, slow, air stop. Okay? Again, don't stress if you're not going to waste that. It's all good. Tie a knot on the end. Get the length that you want. Pinch and twist. Yeah, that's a perfect sausage size. 6 sausages should be half a kilo. 12 sausages should be a kilo. That's from my butchering days. Okay, so that there will be your perfect 6.
It didn't take long for the crew to get the hang of it, and soon we had a tray full of beautiful venison sausages ready to go. From field to fire, wild game, shared knowledge, and a feed that tasted even better knowing where it came from. Cram-packed weekend here with Nature's Perks. One of the best weekends I've had to date. We've done caping, deer on the first day, which was awesome, pig, you name it, it was great. Breaking down all the meat, doing the butchering course as well, caping course, sausages, you name it. We had a whole team of people here learning this weekend, and they've had a fantastic time. They've learned a lot, I've learned a lot as well. Every time I come out on these things with these guys, I learn some more. So if you haven't been to one of these courses, get on board, get out and give it a go. It's fantastic. You'll learn a lot, you'll increase your skills, you'll learn all about how to hunt the deer, how to find the deer in the first place, find the pigs, that type of thing, and then what to do with the animal once you take it. So over to Lawson for a minute, and he can sort of recap of the weekend.
Oh jeez. No, thank you for coming, appreciate it. It was a lot of fun having you out. We obviously, Glenn got a nice deer, you probably see that after, I'm hoping, or before, whichever way. We tried to get Ethan one, but we're gonna get him an easier one next time. Nice big stag roaring in. So no, it was a good trip, good weekend. Had a course. Thank you boys for coming, and hope you learnt some more. We'll go do some more after this. But yeah, no, it's a good trip, so I really appreciate everyone coming, and we will do a podcast. Just I need to find time to do things. So yeah, thanks for coming.
Please like and subscribe. Put your comments down below. We answer all the comments that people put on our socials, and we'll see you on the next one. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys.